and China are finally disengaging from a major flashpoint. There is a breakthrough, and it took 16 rounds of talks to get here. This is where it's happening, the Gogra Hot Springs border area in the Western Himalayas. India and China are pulling back their troops from patrolling point 15, also known as PP-15. This was one of the most pressing friction points in this dispute. Here is why. Reports say at PP-15, soldiers from both sides were locked in an eyeball-to-eyeball standoff. The India and China border is over 3,000 kilometers long. In several regions, the boundary is not demarcated. That is why there is a dispute. Along the line of actual control, the Indian Army has set up these patrolling points. There are 65 of them in all. Indian troops are well within their rights to access these areas for patrolling. They are important not just from a security standpoint. These patrolling points are necessary for India to assert control over its territory. And the PLA had sent up its troops right up to the patrolling point 15. This had raised the tension significantly. You must be wondering why China targeted this region. Why did it deploy troops there? It's because this area is of great importance to China. It divides China's two most sensitive provinces, Xinjiang and Tibet. That's why China was trying to control it. India's concerns are also driven by the events of the past. Chinese troops had targeted hot springs in 1962, that is during the Sino-India War. It lasted a month. India suffered a setback during this conflict. China was successful in consolidating its positions, but the hot springs area was not a flashpoint. Yes, the Chinese troops did target it, but the fighting there was feeble in 1962. Not this time. There was a serious build-up. The standoff at the patrolling point 15 lasted over 2 years. All through this time, China has pushed its claims hard. Then why disengage now? What are the possible factors that led to this disengagement? Well, there are a few reasons that come to mind. First, the upcoming Shanghai Cooperation Organization or SCO summit. It is happening next week in Uzbekistan. Chinese President Xi Jinping will attend it. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to go as well. And there is intense speculation over this event. Prime Minister Modi and President Xi have not met since November 2019. They will be in the same room after almost 3 years. Will they greet each other? Will there be a pull aside? All these questions are hanging in the air. Any dialogue between the two leaders was unlikely until today. Will this disengagement now revive the chances for a dialogue? We will have to wait and see. But China has been sending out some signals. Let's take you back to March. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi visited India. Beijing tried to reset ties with New Delhi. Here is the pitch that Wang Yi presented. This is from Chinese state mouthpiece Xinhua. They reported about Wang Yi's visit to India. I'm quoting, Wang said that China and India, as two rational major developing countries, should put their border issue at a proper position in bilateral relations. The border issue should neither define nor affect the overall development of the China-India ties. This is what the Chinese foreign minister told the Indian leadership. Beijing wanted to keep the border issue on the back burner and focus on other aspects of the relationship. We all know how that went. India completely rejected China's pitch. New Delhi sent out a clear message to Beijing. There can be no normalization of ties until the border standoff is settled. Listen in to what India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said last week.
Much of the future of Asia depends on how relations between India and China develop in the foreseeable future. For ties to return to a positive trajectory and remain sustainable, they must be based on the three mutuals: mutual sensitivity, mutual respect, and mutual interest. Their current status is, of course, well known to all of you. I can only reiterate that the state of the border will determine the state of the relationship.
The state of the border will determine the state of the relationship. It is as simple as that. Remember, this standoff is not yet over. Troops from both sides still remain engaged in a face-off in Depsang and Demchok. They are perhaps the only remaining flashpoints right now. Beyond that, each side still has around 50 to 60,000 troops along the line of actual control. So there is still a long way to go. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.